the stage when I'm about to get it. Like I bust out of this cage when I started winning. Watch the bright lights fade when I'm on them swinging. Plus I'm about to get paid like I'm on a mission. This ain't fight night, baby, this is night, yeah. Feeling right, knuckles clench, I got the mic tight. Lay my belt on the bench cause it's in my sights, yeah. Plus I'm coming for your head, jug ice tight. I ain't no stranger to circumstance, don't notice I'm about to dance. I keep my ship tight cause any moment I'm throwing hands. I'm blowing up on your man, KOing him on demand. Fight of the night, bitch, I'll put ice in my corner, man. Coming for you, ain't no weakness. Kote on a mission, no secret. Flick of the wrist, no sleep, bitch. Coming for your head, you need to be sick.
Hi guys, welcome to another Fordewin MMA interview. Today is a special day. This is the first interview that we're conducting after launching our website. So please don't forget to visit us at fordewin.cl. I'm sorry, I was going to say www, which is Spanish, and we're not speaking Spanish today. It's all weird. I'm here with my man, Iker, the MMA poet. How you doing, baby? Welcome.
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah,
and
man.
To do my first.
This is your first time with us, like doing an actual interview, because the panels are in Spanish, and yeah, those are fun, but doing it freestyle in English with people like our guests right now, it's going to be something really fun to do. Who we have today, we have the pleasure of being with Hermanos Daukaus and Kyle Daukaus. Another weird mixer. We have brothers for the second time here in our show, because the first time we had brothers were the Anik brothers, guys who you were with yesterday. You were with John Anik and Kenny Florian, right?
Yes.
Welcome, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me, man.
Doing very good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Well, it's been a fun couple of weeks for you guys. How are you guys feeling with everything that's been happening with you guys? Chris, you had an amazing win a few weeks ago. Kyle, you had a weird situation. Let's hear it from you guys. Who wants to go first? How do you guys feel about it?
I'll go first. Yeah. So, I mean, getting, the whole experience fighting in front of a UFC crowd for the first time was a little strange. It was really, really cool. It was something I look forward to, and I'm really glad that I experienced it. I'm sure my brother could, attest to this. It's one of the greatest things in the world. Gets you super pumped up, get you super, ready to go. It's definitely a dream come true, and I'm really glad that I got the win. So yeah, it was something that was really fun, and I can't wait to do again.
Yeah, absolutely. That was pretty sweet. And my boy here, Iker, was on site for you. Man, he was right there in Vegas. Iker,
that's right.
How was that?
It was crazy because the first time Chris knocked down Shamil, everyone thought the fight would be over, and the excitement levels were up through the roof, man.
Yeah.
But then the second knockdown came, and I remember myself screaming your name, and I was just so happy, bro.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And you, Kyle, well, you had a fight with Mr. Big Mouth himself. That's an experience in its own, I guess, right? I mean, he probably talked a lot of shit during the fight, but we got to a point where it was a weird call by the referees. I don't want to get too deep into it because I feel we all have discussed it and we all have our opinions, but the only opinion that matters, for me at least, it's yours. How do you feel about all this thing with the referee and the outcome of the fight? Do you feel cheated out of a bonus and a few extra bucks?
Not so much as like cheated, as much as I'm just annoyed at the situation that happened, based off of like the referee's call and everything like that. It did take away half my pay, and that kind of, did annoy me a little bit. But everybody was asking me to push for the money and stuff like that, and I wasn't going to be one to go out there and ask for it. I mean, I don't really think I deserved it just based off of the circumstances of the fight. But yeah, it was a good experience. Fighting him, it was, no different than fighting anybody else. He just likes to talk when he's in there. And I think that's just how he is. He deals with the moment very well. He was talking to DC during the fight, so it was pretty wild. But yeah, the whole situation was a little crazy, a little, you can't really make this stuff up. It's a little wild, but it's good that we get to fight again. So,
talking about you guys fighting again, actually, what do you think you can do differently this time around come November 13th?
What I can do differently, I guess, is just, I mean, I've made a little simple mistakes based off of the wrestling against the cage that I can just take advantage of now that I know I did wrong the first time. I was able to get in there and like feel his strength, and he was able to get in there and feel my strength, and I felt a lot stronger than he did, and I plan on taking full advantage of that, you know, coming the 13th. But also, we're going to work striking as well. Like, I'm not just going to go in there and shoot within the first 30 seconds like I did last time. I'm going to stand with him a little bit, get him, pepper him up a little bit, and then just kind of implement my game plan.
Chris, you were in his corner. I'm sorry, Iker, please go ahead.
Sorry. Because actually, I saw your guys' podcast with John Anik.
Mm-hmm.
And if you win against Kevin Holland, you'll be ranked now in the division.
Yeah. So
what are you looking forward to the most? Man. Because you called out for Edmund Shabazian.
I mean, I like that matchup. I think the Shabazian and Imavov fight, that's a good fight. I think both of those fights play well into my favor. And, you know, I don't really think I'm one to like call people out or anything like that. But if, you know, after I get the win, I might call him out. I might not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm just focused on Kevin Holland right now.
Well, Imavov, I'm sorry, I always have trouble trying to pronounce his name. It's Nasruddin Imavov. He's going to be fighting Edmund Shabazian. Who you got for that fight? Who do you see winning that?
I don't know. I think whoever takes advantage of their grappling, actually. I mean, they're both very good strikers. Imavov kind of has a more like kickboxing style as opposed to Edmund's kind of just strict boxing style. And I think Imavov will mix it up a little bit and come out with a win.
I see. Chris, you were cornering your brother for this situation. As a big brother, how do you feel watching this unfold?
It's nerve-wracking. My biggest thing is that I like to be in control of certain situations. I think that's why I'm cool, calm, and collected kind of when I fight, because I feel like I have control over the situation as far as what goes on in the cage. And obviously, when he's in there fighting, I have absolutely no control of that situation. So I think that makes my anxiety levels and you know my heart rate jump up a little bit more. So you know, and then just with the whole situation, you know, we were frustrated as a team with the whole situation with how things were handled. But you know, it's a part of fighting. These things happen, and you know, as a part of fighting, you have to keep moving forward. And you know, we're fighting him again, and then we're just going to continue to show that you know my brother's the better fighter and deserves a number next to his name and to be fighting the best guys in the world.
Well, going back to UFC 266, knowing you're such a fast and dynamic striker, you got controlling the range and the speed in most of the fights. So what do you think will be a great advantage with you and Derrick Lewis when you guys fight?
What a banger of a fight, if I may add. I'm so sorry, but it's a fucking banger, man.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really good fight. But Iker, to go back to what you were saying, you know, all the things that you listed, I think that I have a better management of my range. I think I'm faster than Derrick Lewis. He likes to throw a little like crazy, like, you know, jumping kicks here and there, like head kicks. So it'll be fun to test myself against him. But, you know, I think my range management, my speed, and obviously I think my cardio is better than, you know, the majority of the heavyweight division. The only thing that he might have me on is single punch knockout power. And I really don't think anyone is going to argue that. It's probably between him and Francis Ngannou, who have the number 1 and number 2 spot in the division for, you know, the single punch knockout power. But I'm okay with taking number 3 or 4 spot on that, as long as I can, you know, beat you up as far as, you know, like the next 10 to 15 minutes. If I land 100 shots compared to your 1 shot and then I finish it, I'm okay with that.
That's great to hear, because I think stylistically that's a great fight. And if you win, who do you think is a bigger challenge for you, Ngannou or Gan?
You see, I would say Gan, strictly because I think that he brings more weapons. as opposed to Francis. Francis is, he's just more of a boxing type. People could say the same thing about me. I just haven't really, thrown kicks. I didn't want to throw kicks against Shamil because I know where he's from, and he's predominantly a striker. But when he fought Derrick Lewis, every low kick Derrick Lewis would catch, he throw, Shamil would catch and take him down and just stay on top. And I wanted to avoid all that. So I think that Gan definitely possesses more weapons as far as him compared to Francis. But Francis, he's got that ultimate weapon of that one punch knockout power. So
I know this is I know this is almost a given question, but Kyle, how do you see your brother against the big bad beast? How do you see that fight coming?
It's going to be a crazy fight, but he's going to come out on top. I think that my brother has fought a lot more well-rounded fighters than Derrick is. Derrick's kind of just a one-punch guy, and if he can't get you out of that one punch, he just kind of stands there and takes a beating the whole time against the cage. I think that my brother's biggest advantages, are the striking and the grappling. I think eventually the fight will hit the ground, and eventually my brother will submit him. But people are going to be wanting to knock out, but I think my brother's going to submit him.
Well, that could be nice, man. That could mean another bonus. And I was, I was hearing that your wife, man, she's really happy now about all these bonuses.
Yeah, she's getting used to it. So I have to change things up. She can't be getting used to that extra cash. So
so you gotta go to work. Well, what I want to know, I know both Daukaus brothers are tough as hell, but what I want to know is who got in MMA first and who got who into what. That's what I want to know. I want to know that story because I'm pretty sure there's a cool story there.
Yeah, so I was driving past an MMA gym going to college. I was commuting to college. Eventually, one day, I decided to go in. I started out doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just strictly BJJ. I was telling my brother about it, kept telling him about it, and then finally he joined in. I think it was 2 months later or 2 weeks later, whatever it was. It was super quick. He jumped straight into MMA. He didn't jump into BJJ or kickboxing. He went straight into MMA. I wanted to get my feet wet as far as the combat sports, so I jumped into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he jumped straight in. And then it's kind of been, he was telling me about MMA, and I followed him right into MMA, and we've been here together ever since.
Yeah, I started straight right in MMA, and my brother was coming home telling me about jiu-jitsu classes and wearing the gi and stuff, and I thought that was crazy talk. I didn't think that jiu-jitsu in the gi would help out at all in MMA. I strictly want to do MMA classes. I don't want to do any type of other classes. But once I started watching him do jiu-jitsu, I realized how much jiu-jitsu helps with MMA all around. So I jumped in and started doing both, and he did the same.
Yep.
Well, that's amazing, man. What I want to know now is, I'm pretty sure there's a good few stories from back in the day. We were trying to figure out the way to ask and what to ask because Iker was telling me something about what if we ask him about something that the other brother covered up that we might unclassify today. But I thought, I don't know. He's a cop. He doesn't want to get into trouble. So I don't know.
I don't know nothing, man. I don't know nothing about nothing.
That's the kind of brother I like in my corner. I don't know shit about anything. Right. I didn't see it.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
That's the way you guys were when you were kids? Die for another?
Yeah, no. We're gonna be real here. No. We're gonna be real on this one. Listen,
I love it.
I used to get him in so much trouble when we were younger. I used to do stuff. I used to act like I was getting hurt and just blame it on him. And then my mom would go and yell at him all the time. Yeah, I was a baby kid, and I used to. Oh my god, I was probably between 6 and 8 years old. I was I would be sitting there and I would just start yelling stop beating me, and my mom would freak out and come running in and start beating him up, just to be a little brat. I was
for no reason. So it would be me and Kyle on the couch watching TV. My mom's in the kitchen doing something, and he just starts, "Hey, I'm just gonna start messing with you." So he just starts screaming, "Oh, stop beating me, stop punching me!" And my mom comes in thinking I'm beating him up. And she beats me up, and then I'm just oh, okay, so I guess this is how it goes.
It's the Philadelphia chancla, Iker. It's the Philadelphia chancla.
It is just like in Mexico. I have 3 brothers too, and they're older than me. So I've been in your spot, Kyle.
Yeah.
In there.
We gotta make sure they don't get too much good stuff. Yeah.
But now, actually, talking to Chris, how do you make your life so effective, being a cop and a fighter at the same time? Because I think it's pretty admirable.
Well, thank you for that. I kind of just, when I'm at work, and when work is done, I'm done with work. And then I strictly focus on training. I'm married now with a son, and me and my wife have been together ever since I started all of this. I started this, before, we were together before I started all this, even like police, my being a police officer and fighting. So she's been with me through the whole process. She knows what it takes to be a professional fighter. She knows what it takes to be a police officer. And she's supported me. She's always been one to, be there for me. And I don't think that I would be as nearly successful as I am without her, taking care of our son by herself a lot of days. If I'm working 8 a.m. till 4 or 5 o'clock at night, and then I have to go to the gym and I'm not getting home until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, that's all, it all falls on her, and she's the best for it. So that's really, if you're looking to find balance, try and find it with someone who can truly help you out. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Surprisingly deep. I like it.
Yeah, right.
Sneaky deep. I like it.
Yeah, but very much so. Yeah.
What I want to know, guys, is what does the Philadelphia water has different from every other state? Because Philadelphia is a fighting state. We have Rocky, we have former champions in boxing, in MMA, we have Eddie Alvarez, we have the Daukaus brothers. So what's the deal with Philadelphia culturally? Because what I see in you guys, you both are blue-collar guys who get in there, get the job done, no bullshit, straight up to business, which is a philosophy that I personally enjoy and I appreciate on fighters, right? So my question is, how does Philadelphia percolates in your game, each and every one of you?
I think it's just that the city itself is just a tough city, no matter what you're doing, like ever since you're growing up, like from a young age to like high school, all the sports you play in, everybody like takes jabs at you. So everything's tough. Like you have to have a strong mindset. You have to have keep your chin down and just go forward the whole time. Don't care what anybody says, and don't worry about like people judging you or anything like that. And I think that's just the type of city that we have. And it just makes us so much tougher. Like my brother can attest to that. Like growing up, you got bullies all over. And yeah, this just makes it a tough city.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you're always, there was always someone bullying somebody, whether you're a little kid, doing whatever, to high school, to college. Like we always, deal with fights, that's just kind of really how it boils down in Philadelphia. I guess it is that heritage of the fighting city, of, like a tough city, like a neighborhood. Like it would be, me against you fighting, and then it would be your family against my family. And then it goes even further, like my street where I live on versus your street, and then our neighborhood versus your neighborhood. That's just how it is. But the moment that it's a city against another city, we're all together, and it's really good to see. But it's good for some stories, with some good scraps with some people before we got into the UFC. We definitely had some fun. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah,
honestly. So now that you guys are both in the UFC, you guys have had a rapid success to the top. What are your guys' goals for 2022?
I'm sure. I mean, for me, my goal is just to keep winning. It doesn't matter who they're putting in front of me. It doesn't matter if he's ranked or not. I have to go in there and just win every single time. And my biggest goal for this next year is just to keep winning, just to win every single day as well. Like to go out there and just train every single training session that I have, just to be focused in and just do good. You know, in order to be great, you have to be good, you know, a little bit every single day. And that's my game plan every single day, is just to be 1% better every single day.
How about you?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. You know, you have, like he was saying, you have to win every single day, and you just have to get that much better, even if it's just the 1% better than you were yesterday or 2 days ago. But as far as my career, I just same thing with him. I don't want to take any steps back. I just want to keep winning, keep focusing, get through Derrick Lewis. And like I said in an interview, when I was fighting Alexei Olenek, I think it was, this time, in that interview was in February of this year. So I want to be the number 1 or number 2 ranked guy in the division. And if I beat Derrick Lewis and, come that time in February or January, February, whenever that interview was, I certainly can be that. And I'm just going to continue to focus on that and just to go, forward and try and challenge for that belt. And the ultimate goal for me is to go down in history as the UFC heavyweight GOAT. And I don't see why I can't do that. And, that's just what I feel that I can do. And I really will do.
You have to stay true to what you believe. And if that's your belief, I love it. I love that. That's the focus. Yes. One of the things that you just mentioned was hopefully beating Derrick Lewis. If that happens, what I see for you from my little crystal South American ball is that you'd be facing probably a former champion in Stipe Miocic. That's a fight that you've been campaigning for a long time. You have this serviceman angle that I love. And even though it actually plays real good for the city and everything that we were discussing before. Yeah. Do you see actually that happening for next year? Do you think that's on the cards?
I'll say that it's always a possibility. I'm not sure what is going to be happening with Stipe, because I think Dana White did say that he was given the John Jones fight. So I don't know what's happening legally as far as what's going to happen with John Jones. I know Stipe, I said something, and I think Chael Sonnen even said it on his podcast or something like that, that Stipe accepted the fight against John, and he was waiting to hear what John was saying. So I don't know if Stipe is going to wait out, maybe like a title fight. Like, let's see how the winner of Francis and Cyril goes. And then, maybe I'll challenge for the title that way. But if he's free and I'm healthy and he's healthy, I'll fight him. I have no problem with that.
I think there's a good news for you. I don't think John will be back in any short amount of time, man.
Well, who knows,
some
man?
Mexican shade right there. Orale. Well, that's a tough situation, guys. What's your take on it? I heard you talking about it recently, Chris, and you gave a lot of information from a policeman's standpoint, which I think is really interesting. We were discussing with Iker a lot of angles to this, and what we came up with was, what would be your reaction if you were on duty in your hometown and you had some sort of a John Jones, some UFC colleague, whoever it was? Maybe he was visiting your city and the city kind of flipped on him and he started doing shit, and you answer the call and you see yourself there. Do you extend any kind of professional favors? I don't think so, right? Because this...
You can't.
What's the name? I've heard this... there's this card from police unions, right? Which is some sort of a free pass card. I've read about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll Google it because I'm pretty sure I read it.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know.
Like
but if you're ever in Philadelphia,
I like it.
I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're ever in Philadelphia, call me. I got you.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. Because if I ever go to Philly, and this is something that I need both of you guys to help me out with, Philly is a place that as we have discussed before, has this this vibe, this fighting town spirit, right? But it's also a place where you can get your grub on. So what I want to know is really simple. As you guys are from Philly, what would be the best place for us if me and Iker ever go to Philly, right? What would be the best place for us to experience a classic Philly cheesesteak sandwich for the very first time? Should I go Pat's, Gino's, Jim's, or D'Alessandro's?
None of the above.
None of the above. Shit, I did my research and I got screwed. Please let me know.
Google just lied to us.
Yeah, I mean, Google. Don't listen to Google.
Those are like tourist spots, and the cheesesteaks aren't like great quality. I would say it's just like a basic, like, if you just want to go there and say you got a cheesesteak, that's where you go. But for my brother and like the Daukaus clan and family and stuff like that, you know, we're kind of Steve's Princess Steaks. There's a place right around the corner from us that is a Steve's, and then there was a Steve's down in old neighborhood that we used to live. So, you know, we've always been Steve's fans. We think it's the best cheesesteaks in the city, but you know, everybody has their 2 cents to throw in. Yeah.
So Pat's and Gino's are strictly tourist traps. They are not good. Like he said, they're not good. They're not good quality. They have big lights. They have big signs. They have everything like that. Everyone's there. There's always a million people there. It's always, you know, go to Steve's. Trust me, Steve's. The best cheesesteak in the city of Philadelphia.
Well,
don't go to Tony Luke's either. Tony Luke's, their bread is they got too big rolls. It's too dry.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I love it. Now I just want to go to Philly and have some sandwiches, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Well, as a tourist, I actually would love to go to Philly. That's one of the few places I haven't been to in the U.S. So that's something I want to do in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely a great city, especially for tourist attractions and stuff like that. You know, checking out the art museum, obviously the Rocky statues right there. So yeah, it's definitely a great spot.
All right. So for you guys have some very exciting fight card coming up, and Kyle is fighting on it. And as a Mexican man, I have to ask this. What is your prediction for Max Holloway versus Jair Rodriguez? Because that's a barn burner, man.
Put in the spot. I don't know. I like Max too much, man. I really do. I don't know. I think that the only way that I think the only way that Yair can beat him is if he comes out and just starts throwing wild stuff like he always does. But I think Max is honestly the best, you know, 145er that is walking this earth right now. So I'm gonna just stick with Max for my prediction.
Officer Daukaus, do you concur?
I concur. I would concur. I think that Max is, you know, outside of Volkanovski, I think that they should fight again for the third time. I think that, you know, that needs to be settled, but you know, he is the best guy besides Volkanovski walking this planet right now. And if and when they fight again, I don't know what's going to happen in that fight. It's a coin toss for me. You know, some people say that, you know, Volkanovski won the first one and Max won the second one, but they gave it to Volk. So I don't know, but I'm very excited to see them fight for a third time.
Yeah, that's something that we are all looking forward to, man. My final question is a little different. I want to know your dream fight, guys, but don't just think about UFC. Think about fictional characters, historic characters, alive or dead. If you could fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, who would you go and fight, Kyle?
Do I have like superpowers or anything?
Whatever you want to go, man. Just make it interesting.
You can choose whatever you want.
You can choose whatever you want.
Since I am a big fan of Batman, I'll say Batman because afterwards I would then become Batman. If I can beat him, then I become him. So, but Batman would be my guy.
If you beat Batman and you become Batman, can you say, I'm Batman?
I guess I'd have to then, right? I would have to.
Right. How about you, Chris?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess I'd want it to be, you know, I would say Genghis Khan. Like, Genghis Khan or like Hercules, that'd be really cool. Like Hercules with mythology, because he's supposed to be the ultimate badass. Yeah, definitely Hercules. I'll say Hercules. Both give us the same, the demigod, our father Zeus, and all that stuff, and let us go at it. Let's see who's the better man.
You want to become a mythological badass. I like it, man. I like it a lot.
I'm down. Yeah.
Man, it's been a blast having you here, guys. I hope this isn't the last time we get the chance to talk to you here at Fordewin MMA. I enjoyed it, and I love the fact that we had the chance to pop my boys Iker's cherry today with you guys.
Oh, thank you, Iker. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
So,
hey, man,
guys,
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we all appreciate each other. And I want to know something before we go. I want to know if you guys have any words for the South American Spanish-speaking fans out there that are always looking for you guys in the cards.
Kyle, good.
Okay, first, just thank you for the support. Very appreciative of it. It's really crazy to think that from us starting out, me starting out in a small gym, fighting in like warehouses and in like automotive repair shops and stuff like that like it would go to this, and I would have fans and people hitting me up from South America and all over the world. So yeah, just thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I might not be ignoring all your messages on Instagram. I just get a lot that I just don't answer them. So I'm very sorry.
It's okay, man. It's a grind for both sides, man. You're trying to run away from us. We're trying to chase you guys down. So it's only fair, man. It's only fair. It's part of the game. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, just like Kyle said, all the fans who are reaching out or have reached out. If I did not get back to you, I really am sorry. Like he said, I have 99 plus requests, and they just keep adding up. So I'm not ignoring anyone. I just haven't got to you yet. So just hang on. I'll eventually get to you. But for everyone in South America and in Mexico, especially, we have 2 teammates who were supposed to be fighting this weekend for Combate. Crisida Adames, she's not fighting this weekend. Her opponent pulled out. But we have Zedekiah Martinez, who's fighting this weekend for Combate, so it's really good. So if you guys could, check them out and support them, that'd be really good. And, they're a part of our team, and they've been with us. Zedekiah has really, he's been with us since we started. So
I'm pretty sure really my boy Iker would love to interview him. I'm pretty sure we can make that happen for Iker. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us. Please don't forget, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, click that bell, and please, by all means, check forthewin.cl. We're really proud that this is happening right now. We're getting bigger, so we're happy to have you guys. Thank you so much, and it's going to be until the next time.
I'm about to dance, I keep my ship tight, cause any moment I'm throwing hands, I'm blowing up on your man, KOing him on demand. Fight of the night, bitch, I'll put ice in my corner, man. Coming for the ring, no weakness. Kote on a mission, no secret. Flick of the ring.